YouTube Oziko and the Goat House is back. Heading into Super Wildcard Weekend, the first round of the playoffs for the NFL. We got bold predictions today, sent in by you guys through our Twitter. Make a post late every week, and you guys comment with your bold predictions. A lot of good ones on there. I picked out about 10 of them, and we're going to discuss them, see how hot they are. Maybe they're very realistic in my opinion. We're going to see. So appreciate you playing along. Follow the Twitter, get involved. A lot of polls going on there. You guys are voting on awards and who wins the Super Bowl, things like that. So check it out. We'll be talking during each of these live playoff games. We did it all regular season, so we're going to continue it. Check it out. Check out that Sided app. There's a link down below. You just talk about football. We make some polls, some posts on there, and you can win Amazon gift cards. Actually pretty cool. Check it out. If you're new, subscribe. Full NFL coverage here. Even in the offseason, we got you. First one from Nick Bell. The Goat House fires their graphics guy. I mean, the guy does need to be shit canned. Let's be honest here. But we got a problem. If we fire the Goat House guy, we're going to be in big trouble. There might not be any more Goat House then. So it's pretty piping. It's pretty piping. Just because we're just not going to be able to do it, even though as bad as we want to. Don't think we'll be able to make it happen. Moving on to some NFL ones here. From not a playoff team, so whatever that says, bringer of Bomas. Bears kicker hits the goalpost at some point in the game. If anybody remembers Cody Parkey, the last time the Bears were in the playoffs, he doinked it out. Didn't make it in. They were going to move on to the next round if they got that. Does it happen again? I'm thinking that's pretty piping as well. Santos has been pretty damn good. That's what makes Parkey's the amount of times he's hit the damn goalpost. It makes it insane because it's hard to do. The chances of that happening is very low. I mean, it's just a skinny post. There's two of them, sure, but it's just how he does it so often is actually more impressive than anything. I think. I don't know. So if Parkey was their kicker, I'd say it's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. We'll see what happens in the Browns game there with Cody Parkey, but I don't think it's happening for the Bears this week. We'll see, though. If it happens, it'll be wild. We'll come back to this. Sticky Ninja 69, no away team will win this week. So that means the Bucks won't win, which Washington, one of the better defenses in football, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, they have struggled with the good defensive teams. So it's certainly possible. I'm not going to say piping. Maybe I will because other away teams, even though I haven't really been picking those teams, they got a shot. It's pretty piping, actually, now I think it, because I'm confident the Buccaneers will win, but if they don't, only other away teams, even though they're underdogs for the most part, the Ravens it's piping. The Ravens are away, and they're favored. I picked the Titans, but it's about the 50-50 game there. It's one of those. Should be the game of the week. I think it's pretty piping. One of those away teams is bound to win. Let's be honest. There's probably going to be an upset. I think somebody had a post like that. Yes, from Spencer here. There will be no upsets. I think it's pretty piping too. It's similar. I think it's piping. This is piping hot predictions week, I guess, because I picked the Titans to win. They're underdog. I don't really think that much of an upset though. That game could go either way. Ravens are a really good team. They're getting better. Offense seems to be back in action there. Full effect. I'm just thinking there's going to be an upset. Even if I picked all favorites, which I didn't, but even if I did, I'm doubting myself a little bit. I think there's bound to be a game that goes differently than we're all expecting. I think most of the world's picking the Buccaneers. Most of the world's picking the Bills. Mostly everyone's picking the Saints. Those teams, a lot of people are picking those teams to win. And then you look at the other ones. I think most people are picking Seattle too. A lot of people picking the Steelers. Between those games where we all are pretty damn confident who's going to win, one of them's bound. It's a new, fresh season. Different things come into effect. How teams game plan, how they match up against these teams in a win or go home situation. It changes things. So there's bound to be I want there to be too. I don't care which one. I want there to be some kind of crazy game or outcome. So I'm just thinking there's a bigger upset than we all expect. So I think there's going to be one. Basically what I'm saying. Colin Crislip, the refs will not screw up one single winning play this weekend. Maybe a little bold of me, but I'm going to say this is realistic. I'm not going to say it's happening. I almost want to say that, though. And here, I'm going to call it realistic that they won't screw anything up. And here's why. This is for me, though. This is like strictly opinion-based. Like, even if we fast forward and see what happens, it's still going to be opinion-based. It's still, some people can say, a lot of people are going to say they got screwed by the refs. It's going to happen. But as soon as we hit the playoffs, refs start to call less. It's got to be, for holding, it's got to be an absolute mauling. And they already cut down on the holdings this year as they pretty much let offensive linemen hold just to protect the quarterback. It's quite obvious. Even players know it. Everyone knows it. And you talk about pass interference, it's got to be really rough for them to call it. And I kind of like that. I just wish it's just the regular season ball was the same as playoff ball because you're just changing the game up. It's going to create different outcomes. If officiating was like this the whole way, we might have different teams in here. So that's my only knock on it. But yeah, usually they let the boys play, and that's kind of what I like. It's the positive. So I don't think they're going to throw a flag to decide a game. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe that's a little bold. But at the same time, you could argue, what if they don't throw the flag that change the outcome of the game? In a crucial moment, what if they keep the flag in their pants, they don't whip it out this time, and that costs the team and they maybe should have? That could happen. I'm still thinking it doesn't. I think people are going to say that should have, but you got to remember how playoff ball usually is. They let the boys play. I think mainly, they don't want to. Yeah, they don't really want to decide games on something. If a guy got beat, but it was a penalty, I don't know. That's kind of what I noticed that every single year. So I don't think the refs are going to decide a game. I think people will still complain. I mean, it's going to happen every game, every week, but I still think people will complain about maybe a no call rather than an actual call, more like the regular season. So we'll see. That's actually something to watch out for there. From Brady Hill, Goff seemingly returns too early as he has a meatball game, throwing 2 interceptions and has a passer rating below 60. I don't think Goff is going to be back, but there is a shot. He's listed as questionable, not doubtful or not out. McVay's kind of being a little sneaky about it, I think. So maybe it's smart. Maybe that's just to surprise Seahawks, hey, Goff's playing, or is it maybe that's to make they know he's not going to play and they're making it seem like he has a shot to play, but it's going to be Walford because you got nothing to lose at that point if Walford's your guy. So it makes sense. It could be either way. If he does play, he's playing with a broken thumb, and last time he played Seattle, he had a meatball game. So I think it's pretty. I don't think I think he plays. He's playing with a broken thumb now. I don't think he plays worse than last time, but last time was a. We're going to put this right in the middle. I don't think it's warm. If he plays, I think it could happen. I'm not going to call it realistic like it's supposed to happen, but I'm just curious to see if he plays or not. I want to see what McVay, like I said, he has 2 strategies here. Smart, he should do it. Make it sound like he's not playing and then kind of just keep it a secret. Then, wow, he's playing, or maybe he's making it seem like they're going to do that, but it's just Walford the whole time. So we'll see. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to there. From GoHawks 99, the Rams score 6 or less points, and the Seahawks end the game with 5+ sacks. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 here. Well, we can separate these and we can answer them together. Rams score 6 or less points. If Walford plays, that's tough. Walford play. I was about to say realistic. I'm gonna go warm though. If Walford plays, it could happen. The defense could put them in some good positions. I'll say warm, but that's right on the line of realistic. I don't think they're gonna get 5+ sacks. I think it's pretty piping. I guess Walford could take some sacks. Some sacks could be on him. Whitworth's gonna come back though, so the offensive line gets better right there with Andrew Whitworth. So that's good news for the Rams. For both to happen at the same time, that's pretty damn piping. But yeah, I'm curious to see if the Rams truly are the best defense in the playoffs, because I love their defense, but if they're constantly on the field, then it's going to be tough to do that. And I'm curious to see what the Seahawks, more of their identity is. They're playing maybe the best defensive team in the playoffs. I think their offense will come alive a little more. Can the defense keep up the streak? So That's why, it might not be the main event. I keep calling it the Ravens-Titans, like the big-time game, my favorite game of Wild Card Weekend. But this one's right there just because the questions that I have, for both teams, but mainly what kind of team is Seahawks? What kind of playoff team are they this year? We're going to find out. I guess all the teams we are, but we're going to see. Amon Khan, Javon Wims, revenge game, 70 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, if you remember, Javon Wims and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got into a fight there. Wims got ejected. I believe he got suspended as well. It was just kind of a stupid moment there. And the teams kind of got in each other's faces during that. Nothing else really that serious. I think Janoris Jenkins was trying to yank Wims off him or something. So he got into it maybe a little bit. But so it got pretty heated. So it could be a Javon Wims revenge game. It's definitely interesting because those two teams kind of got in that fight, or really two players got in that fight. So that's interesting. But why I find this even more interesting is Darnell Mooney, who's been really taken off. He had a really good game against the Packers. He is actually hurt. We'll see if he plays or not. I think he's going to be questionable. So when he came out of the Packers game, we saw him on the field a little more. So more of a rotation guy. So we actually could see more Wims. Either way, if Mooney's out, we're going to see a lot more Wims. So he'll have his opportunity. I just don't see the 70 yards. I'm not really seeing it. Do I go piping though? Because 70 yards touchdown. If Mooney's out and they choose to lock down Robinson, somebody else is going to get some separation, I hope. I'll go hot. I won't go quite piping because, if Mooney's out, they're going to focus so hard on Robinson that somebody else is just bound to get some action. But can Trubisky distribute like that? He probably needs to have more downfield shots to help to get the 7 year. I might be close to piping there. And a touchdown. We'll keep it at hot. That's pretty tough, though. Yeah, he's probably playing pissed off, though. So we'll go hot. He's probably playing pissed off against them. He can't be too happy, but he kind of only can blame himself for the most part for what happened. Tony Benz, Ravens get an early lead, making Henry less of a factor, similar to the Packers game. I picked the Titans. I think Henry would be a factor. Again, I'm not super confident with the Titans pick. Obviously, I'm confident in all my picks, but it's just mainly because it could go either way. That's why it's my favorite game of the week. So with all that being said, I do think this is realistic still. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I picked the Titans, but I think it's pretty realistic, and that seems to be a problem in big games for the Titans. Why they lost some big games this year, it's because that happened exactly, and teams are figuring out how to do that. But it's not their defense. It's more of the team's offense. Offense versus Derrick Henry sounds kind of funny, but Packers started with the ball. They started on the 40-yard line, by the way. Then they just went down there and scored. So then you knew, okay, they got to establish Derrick Henry. They got to get him going. They really couldn't do that yet. The Packers just continued to score every shot they got. Titans did not. So took them out of the game. The Browns game, the Browns did the same thing. They were scoring. They were actually creating turnovers, and they were scoring, and they had to come back, but you can't run the ball or run the clock when you're trying to come back. So the Ravens start with the ball, and they score right away, and their defense is good enough to get one stop. Sometimes it takes Titans offense, Henry, anybody really, in the NFL to get going a little bit. So if Ravens get up 14-0, this is very possible. If you told me that the Ravens won the game, here we are after the fact, somehow I missed the game, the Ravens won the game, I'd say, and you asked me how, what happened, and I had to predict. I'd say Titans started slow, Ravens started hot, the Ravens got up a couple scores. Derrick Henry wasn't much of a factor, not because of himself, not because of the Ravens defense, but because they couldn't really run the ball. That's exactly what I would predict, and I think I'd be right on that, if you told me the Ravens won the game. So if the Ravens are going to win, which they're favorites, I guess they're favorites for a reason. A lot of people are picking them for a reason. I think it's realistic, even though I didn't pick it to happen, but it could go either way. I'm looking forward to that game. I love those offenses. I like both teams there for the playoffs, to possibly make a run. So we'll see. Really looking forward to it. It's my favorite game for sure. It's the first game on Sunday. But we'll be covering all games of score from Nicholas. Ravens and Titans combined for 400-plus rushing yards. That's a lot, but let's see. Derrick Henry would have to run for, ballpark, 200, which is pretty ridiculous. But and the Ravens, obviously you can end around A.J. Brown, I'm thinking Tannehill's been getting a little more of the read options, been getting going. I don't know I don't know if the Ravens will be affected too much about that read option, though. I think if they will, if they were to be. I think it'd be because they're not expecting it. It's kind of Tannehill seems to be wide open when it happens because teams just aren't like ready for it. They're ready for Derrick Henry, but I don't know if that's really a flaw of the Ravens. I think it's more of tackling Derrick Henry is kind of the flaw. But so Tannehill can get some yards. A.J. Brown, sometimes they end around. Sometimes they give Jonnu Smith the ball in the backfield. The Ravens is a team between Lamar Jackson and the committee of running backs led by Dobbins recently. I'm trying to think, actually. This is tough. 400 plus seems like a ridiculous amount, but that's what these teams are going to do. I mean, like I said, the Ravens, if they had a weakness on defense, it would be tackling, guys like Derrick Henry. And last time they played Derrick Henry, so they're going to pound the ball there. In the Ravens, they lead the NFL in rushing. Mixing it up between Lamar and J.K. Dobbins is their game to open up the pass. So they're going to be mainly running, trying to wear them out. So they're going to have the opportunity. I don't know. That's tough. Should call it warm. Is that bold of me to call that warm? I'm starting to think Tannehill can get some rushing yards too, more than expecting. Derrick Henry should go crazy. It really just depends on, because you're running the ball usually, if teams run this much, it usually ends up being a little lower scoring, but these teams are so good on offense that it's not going to be lower scoring, but it still ends up being obviously less scoring than like high powered, like a pass, massive amounts of passes in a game. The pass for the pass first team. So it ends up being low scoring than that, but it depends. Again, it depends on if they're getting if Henry's ripping off these huge runs, Lamar's ripping off these huge runs. They're gonna waste that much time. Then they're gonna get the end zone in no time. And if that happens, then they can keep doing that, and there's gonna be more time to get the 400 yards, then it can happen. But if they're going, 5 yards at a time, then it's going to run a lot of clock and, less scoring and less amount of total yards probably. So that one's kind of up in the air. Again, that's just something to look out for. It's definitely the best game of the week. There's probably going to be some surprises, though. One of those games, again, somebody's going to blow it. That was our motto going into last week, week 17. Somebody is going to blow it. It kind of ended up being the Dolphins a little bit. Now this week, somebody's going to blow it. Somebody's going to feel like they're different. Like that wasn't that team. I think that's going to happen. Who's it going to be? We don't know. That's the beauty of it. Whole new game into playoffs. Cannot wait. We'll have you covered play-by-play for the most part. My takeaways live on Twitter. We'll have the recap on Monday. Full coverage for every round and full coverage for the offseason here at the Goat House. So smash that like button, subscribe. Turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.